Hi everybody. Today I want to talk about feel of the motorcycle. Not just the obvious things like your brakes, the suspension and of course the tyres, but the overall feel and indeed the feel of the VFR. Okay, so what prompted me to make this video was I watched a video on the VFR that somebody had made regarding the chain that drives the oil pump, and he mentioned that a few things about getting to know the VFR, and he said that the brakes lacked a bit of bite. I think what's important to know is that bite is not something we really want from brakes these days, particularly because we've got ABS braking. Bite will upset the bike a little bit, so what we want really is feel from them, or progression, which is part of the same thing. If you have something that bites too hard, it'll just trigger the ABS too early, and brakes that have ABS generally are powerful enough to activate the ABS, so you can't really get them any stronger without upsetting the front tyre or breaking traction. So all we can do is we can build in feel, and I must admit when I first bought the VFR I did feel they lacked a bit of power, but I did do a video on the power of the brakes because when I needed to use them, when I was caught out, I really had to grab a handful. That's when I realised how good the brakes were and how powerful they were. But the feel is the important thing, and what I find with these, because they haven't got that, if you want to call it bite if you want, you haven't got that grab. If you just want to feed that brake in and out, entering a corner, coming out of a corner, it's very progressive, and that's really what I want from a brake. I want to feel the bite or the actual power of the brake. I don't want it to grab. I also want it to the feel of the front tyre, which I'm going to come on to, coming through that brake lever, so I know just how much I've got and how much I'm loading up that front tyre. So feel is a lot more important to a brake than actual bite. They will be powerful enough to activate the ABS. That means the brakes are powerful. So let's go on to the actual friction side of it, the feel of the tyres. When people talk about tyres, you may often hear a phrase, you can't put a price on safety. And to a degree that's correct. But of course, safety we think of as grip. When you buy an expensive tyre, there's lots go into it. The research and development, not just for the grip, but for the longevity of the tyre, the shape and the design. But more importantly, the feel, and particularly in the wet, that's when you want a lot of feel from these tyres. So ultimate grip is not really that important. What is important, I say it's not important because in the dry I've never overcome the grip of a modern tyre for years and years, so the grip's there in the dry. But in the wet, we want to be able to feel what the tyre is doing. There's nothing worse than having that remote feeling that you get it on some bikes, mainly bikes with high bars, adventure type bikes, where the contact patch is a long way from the brake lever. You lose that bit of feel a bit from the tyre. But that's the key, the feel of your tyre. When people say they really enjoy the new tyres, probably because they've got a lot of feel for them. There's a lot of feel coming through. And that's why when your tyre goes off, particularly the front, and you buy a new set of tyres, you automatically think, wow, what a great tyre this one is. But it's really the fact that it's a new tyre, it's giving you better feedback, and overall, I guess, that makes it more safe. The more feedback you get from the tyre, the better it is. It's not about the ultimate grip. So let's talk about the contentious one, and that is the suspension. Suspension is probably the thing that gives you the most feedback, the most feel, and that's because that's basically what you sat on. You'll know from previous videos of mine that I like my suspension set soft, and the reason I like it soft is I get more feel, I get more movement from the bike, and I personally, maybe because I was brought up on wobbly bikes in the 70s, I like the bike to move around beneath me, but mainly because I know where my limit is. When this thing gets out of shape, it might be that the suspension is too soft, but it gives you an early warning sign that I really ought to, knock it down a notch or two. I always think when I get on a sports bike, it's like being on a ball bearing. It's that sort of stable and hardly moves about, you know, no wallowy. But the problem with that is you don't know where the limit is with them. And I always feel like, you know, God, this is gripping, this is leaning. But where's the limit point? You just imagine that all of a sudden, bang, it's going to go. Which on a track might be fine because you're just running off onto grass and a hay bale. You might get kicked out the seat on these sports bikes easily if you're hitting bumps. But on smooth surfaces, they just don't move at all. And for me, that would just make me go too fast. So I don't like them to move about a little bit. The other thing about feel as well is feel of the overall bike. I see too many people changing bikes quite regularly, and that's because I feel I don't think they've developed a feel for the bike. There's a few negatives they've come across, and that's got into the head without actually letting the positives come through. And you only get that with lots of miles on your bike. You almost become one with it without being too romantic. And also new riders. I find new riders will go into advanced training quite early. I'm not knocking advanced training, by the way. They go into it quite early without developing a feel for what motorcycles do and building up data of what's going on around you. Oh, that car's there, and, you know, acting in a certain way. What's going to happen now probably is this. You sort of you lack that, and you only get that from miles on the bike. And also the mechanics of the bike, the movement, you know, when it is likely to slip, when it is likely to do something you don't want. If it's in a wobble, do you back off or power on? You know, it's dynamic, it's ever changing, every ride is different. And you only get that by putting lots of miles onto a bike. I feel that when you sit on that seat, you should feel very comfortable, not physically comfortable, but up here, you want to build up that feeling that when you jump on that bike, confident, and you feel at one with it. And that's a problem with feel. It's hard to market. You can market high performance figures, you can market high speed, you can market super grippy tyres, but feel is very difficult for the advertisers to market, so it gets a little bit left out, and it's left for you as a buyer to actually get into that and understand it. So for me, the feel of the motorcycle and all its components is probably what I get the most enjoyment from, and what I feel is most important to develop. So I'll leave that with you, and I'll catch you next time. Okay, bye.